From nuns dancing around crucifixes to leather-clad rebels baptized in rock and roll, these 1960s films shocked censors so fiercely they were locked away for years. Yet today, they stream free with a single click. Stay tuned, because the deeper we dig, the wilder the stories become, culminating in a final title so explosive it nearly started a diplomatic incident. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because Cinematic Contraband is about to blow up your watch list. The War Game 1966, UK. Kent, a wedding party shields its eyes from an impossible white flash, and the frame freezes like a family snapshot, inverted to nightmare negative. That opening shot of the War Game scared Britain's Home Office so thoroughly that it ordered the BBC to vault the film hours before broadcast. Watkins hacks together man-on-the-street interviews, grim medical reenactments, and bone-dry civil defense charts into a 48-minute panic attack that made 2 journalists faint at its secret press screening. The government branded it too horrifying for the public good, yet clandestine student societies screened bootlegs in dusty cellars while the Vietnam War raged on the other side of the world. Today, the same print that rattled Parliament streams free on YouTube. The harsh monochrome only sharpens the dread. Dolls fuse to playground slides, firestorms roar through terraced houses, and a polite received pronunciation narrator measures the burn radius in miles. By presenting Armageddon with the sterile calm of a weather bulletin, Watkins transforms every viewer into an unwilling participant in bureaucratized extinction. Teachers cue it on Canopy to ignite debates on deterrence. TikTok creators slice its evacuation scenes into viral anti-war edits. Whenever nuclear rhetoric trends, the film resurfaces, proving its uncanny perpetual relevance. When the credits roll, you find yourself checking exits, counting seconds to an air raid siren that, mercifully, never sounds. Decades on, the War Game still dares you to ask whether unflinching truth can force policy change. Titicut Follies, 1967, USA. Before One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest hit theaters, Frederick Wiseman slipped a 16mm camera into Bridgewater State Hospital and captured reality. Inmates shaved with dull blades, force-fed via rubber tubing, and jeered at by grinning guards. Massachusetts courts called the footage an invasion of privacy, banning public screenings in 1967 and locking all prints in state archives, save for one negative Wiseman hid in a Manhattan closet. His camera lingers inches from a skeletal inmate while staff debate whether to tube feed him for convenience, an unblinking stare that tore the veneer off institutional care. The gag order only inflated the myth. Bootlegs flickered at midnight cine clubs and law school seminars until the ban was finally lifted in 1991, a moment the New York Times likened to the Pentagon Papers. Now the film streams free on Canopy and the Internet Archive in HD clarity. No music, no narration, just echoing corridors and fluorescent hum, making viewers their own silent jurors. Modern audiences freeze at the banal cruelty. An orderly cracks a baseball joke while a naked man trembles behind him. A doctor lights a cigarette over a corpse. TikTok reactors pause mid-sentence, eyes glazing with rage. Prison reform campaigns splice the most harrowing snippets into fundraising ads. Med school ethics courses list it as mandatory viewing. The irony is brutal. The state that tried to bury Titicut Follies preserved the smoking gun that now fuels calls for reform. Stream it, preferably with a friend, then ask which locked facility still needs its own Wiseman. Flaming Creatures, 1963, USA. On a trash-strewn Lower East Side rooftop, Jack Smith dreamt up an opium carnival of gender-fluid vampires, collapsing papier-mâché sets and mock earthquakes filmed on scavenged surplus stock. Vice squads raided the premiere, seized reels, and arrested critics for obscenity. Smith's camera pirouettes through nude bodies draped in chiffon. Rumba records warp on a dying turntable. Inflatable cobras become phallic punchlines. Imagery dissolves faster than censors can pounce, which is precisely why they panicked. There was no single frame to cut. Warhol hailed it pure cinema. Jonas Mekas smuggled reels across Europe, and Susan Sontag wrote an impassioned defense. But U.S. Customs kept impounding prints through the decade, turning every screening into civil disobedience. Today, the scratches and light leaks stream free on the Internet Archive, the audience free to zoom, pause, replay, a luxury that once cost bail money. Film school syllabi trace its strobing edits to modern music videos. Queer Gen Z commenters exclaim, "I feel seen," before confessing they cried at the sheer unruly joy. The laughter is contagious and political, proof that repression can be mocked into oblivion. Watch Flaming Creatures with the volume high and the lights low, and remember that once upon a time, desire needed a smuggled projector and a locked door. Scorpio Rising, 1963, USA. Chrome gas tanks gleam like altars, while Elvis croons, "Devil in Disguise." Kenneth Anger's 30-minute biker collage mashes pop anthems with Nazi regalia and Sunday school iconography, creating a music video blueprint decades before MTV. Police confiscated prints, churches filed blasphemy complaints, and projectionists were led away in cuffs. Anger, living on an Annius Nin allowance, had shot guerrilla style in abandoned Coney Island rides and financed the score by simply not paying for song rights. Every screening was a legal time bomb. The suppression failed spectacularly. Today, the short streams free on YouTube in HD playlists, racking up reaction videos with titles like "First Time, What Did I Just Watch?" Tarantino credits it for teaching the art of ironic needle drops. Fashion houses pillage its fetish gear. Queer filmmakers call it the dawn of coded homoerotic cinema. Yet casual viewers report a creeping unease. Polished rebel glamour collides with real crash site corpses and roadside funerals. Anger seduces you with gloss, then blindsides you with mortality, daring you to admit why death looks so seductive in leather. Finish the ride, and you'll understand why the Library of Congress inducted this once-seized short into the National Film Registry. History eventually crowns what hysteria tries to kill. Viridiana, 1961, Spain, Cheer, Mexico. A novice nun visits her aging uncle, vows to serve the poor, and inadvertently unleashes chaos. Buñuel's blasphemous satire won the Palme d'Or, then vanished. Franco's censors seized every print within 48 hours. The Vatican denounced the film as an insult to Catholic morality. Smuggled reels flickered in Paris attics, while Spanish audiences waited 16 years for legal access. Buñuel, back from Mexican exile, shot in Castile where birds peck at unseen corpses just inside the frame, and shredded propaganda posters flutter in distant fields. Visual gags the censors somehow missed. The outrage crystallized around one sequence: ragged beggars reenacting the Last Supper, chugging stolen wine to a warped Messiah, then erupting into a drunken conga before Viridiana screams and snaps a crucifix-shaped clock. The restored print now streams free on YouTube and ad-supported Plex, its satire uncannily fresh. Viewers still argue online: is Buñuel mocking faith, charity, or both? Film study TikToks annotate every sacrilegious pun, and Spaniards debate the scene each Easter with equal parts outrage and pride. By the ambiguous final shot, Viridiana joining her libertine cousin for a card game destined to turn sexual. The audience is dizzy, unsure who deserves forgiveness. That moral vertigo is the joke, and it lands as sharply in 2025 as it did when Franco buried the reels. Pour a glass of Rioja, cue subtitles, and prepare to have your conscience rearranged. I Am Curious. Yellow, 1967, Sweden. Picture a customs officer at JFK Airport in 1968 prying open an unmarked canister and discovering Sweden's sexual revolution grenade. Vilgot Schumann's I Am Curious. Yellow. The reel was seized on the spot, branded obscene, and dragged through an 18-month federal court battle that ended with judges declaring the film constitutionally protected, even as Nixon railed about moral decay on television. Schumann's hybrid of cinema verite sketches, Marxist street interviews, and unsimulated bedroom play makes the movie feel less like fiction than a newsflash from a parallel universe where liberation is homework. Actress Lena Nyman sprints between making love and conducting door-to-door polls on income inequality, stitching private skin to public policy until both feel inextricable. Today, the once contraband print streams free on Canopy and the Criterion Channel's rotating free trial window. Gen Z viewers live-tweet disbelief that the same film once required a trench coat rendezvous. On TikTok, the hashtag #CuriousChallenge clips show couples quizzing each other about class privilege after watching the nude staircase scene, proving the film still detonates self-reflection. Classroom debates flip from giggles to gasps when Showman's hidden camera footage of police brutality surfaces, reminding audiences that state power polices bodies as zealously as kisses. Whether you exit thrilled or unsettled, the film's blunt question lingers. If freedom turns you crimson, is the shame really yours or the society's? The Noon, 1966, France, Paris, March 1966. Catholic protesters chant beneath the Cinema Publicis marquee while police escort film cans back to the Ministry of Information. Jacques Rivette's adaptation of Denis Diderot's banned novel follows novice Suzanne as she is shunted between convents that range from maternal to sadistic. The film's frank depiction of clerical abuse prompted France's culture minister to yank its license 3 days before premiere. Newspapers screamed scandal, and bootleg 16mm reels crossed the channel hidden inside violin cases. Rivette, ever playful, told reporters the real sin was forcing Karina to wear such an unflattering habit. The Nun now streams free on Canopy with crisp 2K subtitles. First-time viewers DM friends in disbelief at how modern Karina's whispered, "I want to live," feels amid stone corridors. Film professors use the rotating Mother Superior archetypes to unpack institutional gaslighting. Mental health advocates share the flogging scene on Instagram stories tagged #religious trauma. Even devout audiences concede the film's empathy for personal faith, distinguishing it from blunt diatribe. By the final freeze frame, Suzanne sprinting toward sunlit chaos, many viewers report a jolt of contemporary resonance. The fight to define your own body and soul is still raging, only the walls have changed. Peeping Tom, 1960, UK. A killer plants a camera on his tripod so the victims can watch their own terror. So did critics when they gutted director Michael Powell's career. Branded sick and perverted, Peeping Tom was pulled from most British cinemas within a week and outright banned in Finland until 1981. Powell's lens prowls neon-lit Soho bedsits where aspiring models pose beneath flickering bulbs. Every frame pulses with voyeurism until the audience feels complicit. The shock wasn't merely the killings, but the confrontation, a horror film that dares you to admit you enjoy watching. Now a restored print basks freely on YouTube and ad-supported Tubi. Cinephiles boast of fourth-wall dread in comment threads. Modern psychologists screen it to discuss empathy erosion in the digital age. Streamers pause at the mirror on matte climax and reflect, literally, on influencer culture. Guillermo del Toro calls the finale an autopsy of cinema itself, while casual viewers confess on Reddit that they covered their webcams afterward. Powell lived long enough to watch his pariah turn into a BAFTA-backed masterpiece, proof that time sometimes develops art the way darkness develops film. Night of the Living Dead, 1968, USA. Halloween, 1968. Parents storm small-town theaters, furious that drive-ins are showing a black-and-white gore fest without warning. Romero's shoestring zombie opus was banned in parts of Germany and labeled "likely to corrupt" by UK censors. Yet thanks to a paperwork blunder, the film instantly fell into the U.S. public domain. That legal accident turned every 16mm projector, college dorm, and late-night TV slot into a pirate transmission, infecting pop culture faster than its flesh-eaters devoured farmhands. Today, dozens of HD transfers stream free on the Internet Archive and even Wikipedia. Some versions sport fan-made colorization, others pristine Criterion restorations. First-timers still flinch when little Karen skewers her mother with a trowel, while historians hail the casting of Dwayne Jones, a black lead who slaps a white man in 1968 America, as a quiet civil rights earthquake. Twitch watch parties explode with chat emojis the moment Jones's character meets his bitter end, sparking debates on systemic violence that feel ominously current. Romero once joked he just wanted to pay his actors gas money. Instead, he birthed a genre and a perpetual protest film whose final montage still resembles news footage you scrolled past this morning. Midnight Cowboy, 1969, USA. A naive Texan gigolo struts down 42nd Street to Harry Nilsson's Everybody's Talkin', chasing skyscraper dreams that crumble into gutter grit. The MPAA slapped Midnight Cowboy with an X rating, then synonymous with hardcore pornography. After psychiatrists warned its frank portrayal of hustling could turn boys homosexual. Several states barred under-17s entirely. South Africa and Ireland banned the film outright. United Artists risked everything and doubled down with scandal-bait marketing. Posters boasted "Rated X" by an all-white jury, baiting moralists into free publicity. Streaming now on MGM Plus's free trial and frequent YouTube rentals, the film lands differently, yet cuts just as deep. Viewers applaud its compassion for society's discarded, Vietnam vets, trans street performers, immigrant clerks, while still gasping when Dustin Hoffman's Ratso coughs blood in a Florida bus seat. Social justice TikToks pair its final freeze frame with stats on modern homelessness. Queer commentators celebrate its tender, unspoken intimacy as a forerunner to today's nuanced LGBTQ stories. The Academy eventually re-rated the film R without a single edit, cementing its triumph over shame. Watch it and feel Manhattan's neon heat on your cheek. You might leave humming Nilsson, but an uneasy question sticks. Who are our Joe Bucks now, and do we still walk right by them? The Battle of Algiers, 1966, Italy, Shash, Algeria. A cafe explodes, a baby cries under rubble, a guerrillera melts into the Casbah's labyrinth, all shot in high-grain black and white that feels like a newsreel someone smuggled out 5 minutes ago. Pontecorvo restages France's colonial war with non-actors who had actually fought it, then cuts the footage to Ennio Morricone's drumline so tight it mimics a heartbeat under interrogation. French critics stormed out of the Venice premiere in 1966, calling the film revolutionary propaganda. The government agreed. It slapped a 1-year ban on domestic screenings, yet distributors still refused to touch the title until 1971 after bomb threats from the far-right OAS militia. Today, the very print France feared streams freely on YouTube in 1080p. Pentagon counterinsurgency courses have screened it, while TikTok activists splice its march sequences under Occupation 101. Viewers report a physical jolt the first time a woman in Western dress drops her purse and detonates a handbag bomb. The scene mirrors CCTV clips they've seen on the nightly news. Pontecorvo ends not with victory, but with a title card that warns "History continues," a line that erupts in comment threads whenever new street uprisings trend. Watch it and feel the uncomfortable thrill of recognition. The tactics evolve, but the asymmetry stays the same. Andrei Rublev, 1966, USSR. Snow turns to slurry under a horse's hooves as medieval Russia trudges through famine, plague, and war. Tarkovsky's camera floats like incense smoke, pausing to contemplate a monk's silent crisis of faith, then lingering as Tatar raiders gouge out a stonemason's eyes. Soviet censors balked at the brutality and the audacity of a film that dared to question state-approved notions of art. They demanded cuts and shelved the picture after a single 1966 screening, branding its ideological erroneousness beyond doubt. 5 years of bureaucratic tug-of-war later, a 186-minute version finally reached Soviet audiences on a frigid December night in 1971 and sold out every show despite 0 posters. Wikipedia. The Moss film restoration now streams gratis on YouTube. Its bell-founding finale, shot in one ecstatic take, still coaxes tears from first-time viewers who entered just to sample a Russian epic. Film schools dissect Tarkovsky's ellipses. Gamers riff on the mud and fire palette for medieval RPGs. Pastors quote the icon-colored epilogue during Easter sermons. Most striking is the personal aftermath. Redditors confess to picking up charcoal or Photoshop the moment the credits fade, resolved to make something that survives censorship, like Rublev's icons. The film turns every viewer into a witness and into an artist by proving that beauty can outlast the regimes that fear it. Branded to Kill, 1967, Japan. Steam rises from a pot of rice, fogging the lens as hitman Goro Hanada inhales his fetish scent before squeezing the trigger. 29 jump cuts later, butterflies collide with muzzle flashes and a jazz trumpet squeals over freeze frames. Studio Nikatsu expected a cheap Yakuza programmer. Suzuki delivered pop art delirium. Executives fired him for making movies that make no sense and no money, then blacklisted him for a decade and locked the negative in a vault, Japan's own artistic purge. Bootlegs circulated through midnight Tokyo clubs until American cineasts championed the film in the 1980s, dubbing it the Godard of gunfire. Now the 4K restoration streams free during Criterion Channel's rotating promo weeks and pops up uncut on the Internet Archive. TikTokers stitch Hanada's eye-patched nemesis into fashion inspo. Quentin Tarantino cites the sniper scope POV for Kill Bill. Casual viewers post, "WTF, did I just watch?" Then admit they replayed it twice. The impact is contagious chaos. You exit questioning why crime flicks need logic when they can run on pheromones and pure velocity. The Killing of Sister George, 1968, UK, USA. Beryl Reid's whiskey-swilling soap opera star barges through London streets in a nun's habit, cursing bus drivers and groping her girlfriend. Aldrich adapts Frank Marcus's stage hit into the first mainstream film to put lesbian desire, graphic, unapologetic, on the big screen. The MPAA answered with a rare X rating. Newspapers refused advertising, and dozens of British councils banned local screenings even after the BBFC forced cuts to a notorious Scene 176. Decades later, the uncensored version sits on YouTube, ad-supported and algorithm-recommended after Carol or Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Film historians hail its leather bar verite. Queer Zoom watch parties toast every caustic one-liner. Yet modern viewers also wince at the drama's 1960s pathology, proof that visibility alone doesn't equal respect. That tension sparks fresh debate in comment sections. Should trailblazers be graded by today's standards or celebrated for cracking the door? Either way, the film's banned then blessed journey turns every stream into an act of reclamation. When the final close-up leaves Sister George half in shadow, half on air, you feel the thrill of forbidden frequencies suddenly broadcast in the clear.